Hey guys, welcome to the Just Tai Book Club. We're gonna come out with a fancier title, but right now that's what we got. Hopefully, y'all having a wonderful morning, evening, night, midnight special, whatever time this is coming at you. Take this energy now. We all in the same boat. We can start this conversation. All right, guys, man. I'm getting this lighting right now. Getting this lighting all nice and nice, just so everything is kind of cool. All right. So y'all the Etidorpha. We've read the first 6 chapters. If you didn't, that's a-okay. Just stay tuned and listen. I'm gonna do a heavy, in-depth review, and we're gonna just tie. For those who don't know, just ties when you combine your mind with your heart, connect those two circles, keep them spinning, let whatever come out. It just, and then everybody's more calm and peaceful at the end of the day. So just a little more over. Get these angles sharp and right and nice. But well, hey man, it's a November. It's December 2nd. All right, guys. But just to tie, get back again. This book, Etidorpha. It's a book that was made in 1895. So it's a book that's over 100 years old. 100 years old. And if you didn't, and it's a book I first ran across 3 years ago. 3 years ago, just when I was in my awakening stages, or probably 3.5 years ago nowadays. But I was in my awakening stages, and I ran across this book. During my esoteric research, I was just trying to search for knowledge and stuff, and I was like, oh, I don't really know how it appeared to me. It just was like when you go down the rabbit hole on YouTube, clicking suggested videos, and then you leave a comment like, how did I end up in this part of the tube? So that's kind of how I found this book. And a huge synchronicity about it was how it takes place in November. It takes place in late November, gloomy weather, rain and everything. That's what was going on around the time that I started picking it up, and I had a lot of questions. So it was all going blah blah blah. Let's really talk about this. I got my tea, so let's go. Etidorpha. We talk about chapter 1. It's titled Never Less Alone Than Alone. And here in the first chapter, we see our main character, one of the main characters, John Yori Lindwin. I'm just calling him John Yori because last name kind of messes with my head. But John Yori. And we see how this particular day, he's like having all these doubtful thoughts in his head. Like, he's having all these doubtful thoughts, like it's gloomy outside, like I was saying, it's raining, late November, so it's real cold. It's real cold and things like that. And it starts off just him saying, man, this is chronicling my journeys. I wrote this third manuscript 30 years ago, and now the first chapter starts off before the rest of the book takes place. It skips around in dimensions of time. This book really does. So I'm gonna go in depth so that we can stay on track. And I got it up right here so I can look at look at the book. So if y'all see me looking over here, it's because I'm looking at the book. I mean, actually move that a little more over there. All right. Yeah, so it starts off, and it's describing the scene of how, because this gas lamp like comes in and play later in the book, as how electricity was not really a huge invention yet. In 1895, in particular, in the setting of this book, he starts saying how the invention of the street light hasn't really caught on. So the lights is mostly paved by gas lamps, and it's not that many. So it's a lot of dark spots. It'll be real dark, and then it'll be a light lamp, and then it'll be real dark again. So, and it also goes on how to say he doesn't like wintry weather. Like all of this all setting up, he's not really feeling the vibe. He's not feeling where he is in life, like emotionally and physically. It's just all just starting to get to him. He gets real depressed in ways that he likes to read. He really likes to read. Just read books and sit and by his fireplace and things like that. But now he's restless. He doesn't really know what's going on in life. So and a little backstory for him, his dad was someone who was real into esoteric knowledge, esoteric faith. He read a lot of books. But his son wasn't really all for that. He was more into the sciences, the hard facts that had to be proven. Like that was his motivation. So y'all know how it is when you're not really in my book, in my timeline, when you're not really all adaptive to the flows and things like that, you get irritable. You get irritable because you're not flowing with the seasons. You're not experiencing it. So him not being part of the flow, he's being overtaken by the flow right now. He's being overtaken. He's like, oh, I'm depressed and things. And that's what the rain and stuff will bring if you're not prepared. So this is a lot of things I see being erupted out of his consciousness because of the weather that he's experienced, because of the outside forces is now erupting things in him, like his defenses, his walls and stuff are slowly fading away till now it's just him and his thoughts. And now that it's like that, he's like, oh my gosh, some things I didn't ever deal with. And so he's restless. He's restless right now. He's restless. He was saying reading was distasteful, writing equally so, but it occurred to me that a brisk walk for a few blocks made afford some relief. And then he tried that. He started getting real moody again. Started getting real moody. So he just went in his house. And he was like, yeah, that was a cool thing. That was a cool thing that he was talking about, when he was just sitting there rocking forth in the back and chair, restless, but he had a thought in his mind. The restlessness was getting to him. It seemed as though the restlessness was something other than him that was pushing him to do something. And what it pushed him to do was to get a book. It was to get a book. He said, the quote is, if I cannot quiet you, turbulent spirit, I can at least adapt myself to your condition. I will read this book haphazard from top to bottom or backwards if necessary. If this does not change the subject often, I will try Noah's Webster. So, man, this reminds me of myself when I was waking up back in the day, where my higher self, the other consciousness, the higher force, whatever you want to call it, whatever name you want to put in it right now, it would push me, it would like lead me to certain things without me really knowing what to expect. It was like I was just moving with the flow, like even more now than so. Because now I think that I have a picture of what's going on, or I'm able to manifest more of a picture, but it was signs pointing me in different directions, pointing out different esoteric books. I was running across, that's how I ran across the Emerald Tablets by Thoth and the Kabbalion by the Three Initiates. And that led me down a huge rabbit hole of Aleister Crowley books and Hermeticism and all the works and things like that. It seemed like it was just a nudge. It was just a nudge, and it was just like, if I'm not doing this, then damn, what else am I doing? Being irritated. So I believe this is correlating, if you just tie how a lot of people during the awakening, like during the early stages, like you just start getting restless. You start getting real restless in your spirit and things like that. Or your soul, your ego is like, man, there's something I'm not doing that I know I'm supposed to be doing. Everything else that I'm used to doing, it's not suffice anymore. It's not getting me that that I'm used to getting. It's something else. It's something else. So he eventually gave in. He's like, I'm gonna read this book. And this is where the title of this chapter comes in. And I'm a butcher this Latin, but it says, Nunquam minus solus quam cum solus. So that's nunquam minus solus quam cum solus. And what that means is never less alone than when alone. And I'm reading it because it stopped him. It arrested his thought in that moment, because he was like, what? Remember, he's all like in this state of mind of like, nothing is making sense to me, right? I'm irritated. So when you read this quote, never less alone than when alone, he took all that aggression out on this quote. And he was like, he started getting real mad at the quote. There's a quote by Cicero. He's like, never less alone than when alone. What the fuck are y'all talking about? Like, this is when you're alone, you're alone. Like, look, I'm alone. I look around. I don't see nobody. What is this guy talking about? This is the same nonsense that is messing up the youth of today. That's what he was saying. Like, this is that same line of thinking that has now come into the new generation, is messing up their thoughts and making them think all these new age type things that we like to talk about, time expanding and not being real and all this other things, all these other things. So for him to read Never Less Alone Than When Alone, it really was, it really was hitting them hard. It was hitting them hard. And y'all know how that is on those who had a psychedelic experience, when you try to relate it, like say you are the quote. You are the quote that is never less alone than when alone. You try to relate that to somebody else that has never experienced, or their senses are not opened up to the reality of what they are always experienced, which is everything plus what you see with your eyes. But it causes an irritation because people are set in stone, or not really set in stone, but when you come into this world, you're programmed. Programs are being downloaded to you, given a name. As soon as you burst out the womb, you're like, where, who am I? Who are you people? And they like, you're Apple. Your name's Confucius. I don't know. But and then you given a set, you go to school, you learn how to add according to certain particular rules and patterns and different ways of thinking that other people have set in stones for generations, to now just go off to this one idea and just feed off of this one entity that was created from that energy at this one particular point in time. It goes real deep when you try to bring up something to people who are not ready, who are not there. Even though I still like to still talk, because even though seeds are always just going to get planted. These seeds are always going to get planted. But when I know what he's talking about. I recognize the fear in those words, because then the opposite of that would mean that somebody actually is there that he's not seeing. So for that to be the twist in reality, it can be honestly scary. It is honestly scary to wake up or just look around and know that it's more going on and you're just not seeing it. There's people probably walking past you, it's whole towns, but you're just not in that dimension to recognize it. Hey, Psychedelic Ill, what's going on? I zipped through. I had to catch up on the chapters. Well, I'm just going over 1 through 6. Hopefully I get through 6. It's been 12 minutes. I'm still on chapter 1. But it's a good book. It's a good book, man. But yeah, he didn't know. He was so scared. He was so scared of the unknown, fear of the unknown. This fear was just all up in him, and this all means so much. Like this book, how it was put together, the way it builds up, the character development is also, it's all on point. It's all on point. And it's gonna make so much more sense as I keep going, and as y'all probably read. I got the PDF over here, so I keep looking at it. But what happened? What happened afterward? Oh yeah. After he went through all of that process, he was like, I am surely alone. I know I am. Why? I will wager everything I possess, even to my soul, that I am alone. Like that's what he said. That was the wager that he put out to himself. He said, man, wow. Yeah, he did the wager. He said, if I'm not alone, I'll put on a wager that I am alone. That's how much he wanted to stay in his box. That he was alone. That he's like, I'll give you my soul, man. Like he betting. He gambling. He gambling right now. And little did he know, the first big twist of the story. He hears this soft, clear voice behind him saying, you just lost your wager. You are not alone. Now, mind you, he was alone seemingly alone, the only physical person in the room all this time. So he turned around a bunch of times, so he just heard this whoop, You have lost your wager. You are not alone. And then this one he turned around and he sees the guy. He sees this guy with a big white beard, a huge forehead, chiseled kind of face, but he had a youthful face, he was saying, if it wasn't for the gray hair. And you see this guy just chilling on his chair, just looking at him. And John is going through all of these thoughts in his head, like, how did he get in my house? Who are you? What? Blah, 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 blah. And this guy is just still sitting there. And so then he asked him, he said, why are you here? He said, you said you bet your soul that you was alone and you lost your wager. So I'm here because I like Cicero. That was his thing. The guy who made the quote, never less alone than when alone. So I'm here to collect the debt, which is his soul. So if I was John, I'd be like, whoa, wait, hold up. I was just I was just joking. But it got real. It got real quick. That's what happened. Things got real quick. And I see this as probably like a psychedelic experience. Like, this shit got real quick. Like, he took it, he didn't really know that it was going to make him see or hallucinate or be able to see something beyond this reality. But now he's there. And I see this is like the come up stage as the psychedelic experience. So I'm gonna tie this all together so y'all know what I'm really talking about. When these first couple chapters, keep in mind, remind me of a first time psychedelic experience happening with psilocybin mushrooms or LSD or DMT, especially DMT or a high dose psilocybin. Have a whole entity just appear into your house, like this guy that's just sitting in his chair with the white beard and the big head. And he was describing his looks as he was old. He looked old and mature and real knowledgeable and wise. But if you took away the gray hair, it would look as though he was like 20, 25, 30. Real young man, real young guy. And he had an ironical coolness, which he said this provoked me, and I hastily wait. Yeah, he still knew. He still asked why he was here, but the guy, John said, "Please leave my house. Please just leave my house. I don't know what's going on. I've been tripping all day, and I was just reading this book. Things is just. I want this trip to be over. I want this to be over." So he was starting to have a bad trip. He was like, "What the hell is going on?" Yeah, he said, "I was not prepared for this strange action." Hold on. One thing I resolved would be better. Wait, what? Oh, wait. No, it just like went past all the pages I was just on. So then I remember what happened though. The guy was just saying, man, I'm here. We gotta do what we gotta settle this, because I don't want to take your life. And I really know you don't want to die. You don't want to die. So let's work something else out so that we can come to a conclusion. Because you made this bet. I'm here. Something got to happen. Now, in my eyes, I don't know why something particularly just had to happen. Why this had to be so forceful and stuff. I really want to know. It probably answered more. Or probably just this guy's on a whole nother time level. And the words he choosing to say is just for whole other reasons. But yeah, this is the actual quote. I'm back on the page. He said, "I was not prepared for his strange action. In truth, I was not prepared for anything. My mind was confused concerning the whole night's doing, and I was unable to reason clearly or consecutively, or even to satisfy myself what I did think, if indeed I thought at all." His mind is just tripping. He is tripping. But this guy was just so mellow, so clear, and he was pleasant. He was just a guy. I just wanted to do this. So the conclusion they come to is that the guy wants to tell him a story, wants to tell him a narrative, and he wants John to write it down. And at any point, he can interrupt him and ask any questions about the story from his point of view. Like, John could say, oh, well, why did this happen? Or this doesn't make sense. And they'll stop and they'll talk about it. Or John can read it and they'll take notes and stuff that way. I don't really know who would write it down after that, but but they did that. They agreed to that. He was like, all right, I'll agree to that. I'll agree to that. But then John also said, well, if I don't wish to, in the other terms of agreement, well, you have to publish this once I tell you the story. You have to publish the story that I told you. And John was like, well, if I really don't want to publish this, I'm going to get somebody else to publish it for me. And the time span is 30 years. Like once the story is told, they want 30 years to pass and then put the story out. So John's like, all right, I don't want to die, but I'll agree to this, but I have my own thing. If I don't want to publish it, I'm going to have somebody else do it. He's like, all right, let's do this. Yeah. So, it was another part. Yeah. So once they agree, the old man starts to, like I said, it's going to be real in depth because I really want this story to be out there for, yeah, it's just going to be that way. But, the guy agrees and then he leaves. He leaves out the door and things like that. And he runs and chases him because he's like, at first, I skipped this part. The guy pulled out a knife. He pulled out a knife because the guy, John, was like, man, get the fuck out of my house. Like, what are you doing? And the guy was like, I'm going to take your soul. Like, I'm going to kill. I'm going to do something. So he showed him a knife. And then he sat it on the table. Woo, still there. Fingers crossed. Internet. But, dang, he keep going. Where was I? But beyond the fate of my echo, street lamp. Yeah, the guy left. The old man left. He left his knife. The guy goes to chase him, but the old man disappears under the gas lamps. He can't see that much. So John said, oh man, he must have disappeared because it's so dark. He's like, I don't know where this guy came from, how he appeared to my house, but now he's gone. So then he came back in the house. He's like, whew, I must have been tripping. He tries to dismiss this again, dismiss the events that just happened out of his mind again, but lo and behold, he turns around and he sees the damn knife just sitting on the table. He just sees the knife. So he's like, wow, all right, wow, this is wow. This is really weird. So then he said, I'm gonna keep this as evidence that I saw the guy. But then the knife disappears. The knife disappears. So he's like, all right, this is really all getting to him. So it goes to go through the rest of the first chapter. To go through the rest of the first chapter, he finds a white hair. The knife disappears, and then he goes and fiddles over his mind again, but then he sees a white long hair that was left by the guy because he had a white long beard. So he's like, wow, I'm going to ravel this up, and I'm going to save it, put it in my pocket. Yeah, I'm going to save it and put it in my pocket. And then, wait, hold on.
I want to save this toy.
All right, save it. I'll put it right here. I'll save it right here.
All right. When it's sticky enough, you just put it there.
But But yeah, he found a piece of hair. So the knife disappeared, but he was able to keep the piece of hair so that he can remember. So he woke up. I mean, he went to sleep, woke up. And he was like, oh man, that was a dream. I was just tripping. I don't know what was going on, but that was wild. I'm glad that it's over. I'm glad that that's all over. And then he noticed that the piece of hair was still there. That's how it was. That's how this played out. He noticed the piece of hair was still there. So he's like, wow, that wasn't just a dream. That wasn't just a circumstance that happened in my imagination. 'Cause remember, he was real rigid with his science and his hard facts. He was based in this reality, earth sign. He probably got a strong earth sign going on. Oh yeah, he did say he must have been born under the planet Capricorn. I mean, that's the constellation Capricorn, but under the planet Saturn because of how depressing it was. And Saturn is an earth sign and is built off of strategy and baseness, like having a solid plan for the future and knowing that you have to work here in order to make things successfully play out. So that's the kind of play he is. He plays with a lot of Saturn energy. So he has this hair and he keeps it in his pocket, and then he's just like, all right, I gotta just still go about this day, but I know now that I wasn't tripping. So then we move on to chapter We move on to chapter 2. And I'm just reviewing over what exactly it was. Yeah, he was talking about how it happened. He did go about his daily schedule, and he kept what occurred in that day, he kept it to himself for months. He never told anybody about it. Now, this really, really does remind me so much of the psychedelic experience, and so much of when people have stuff happen to them, weird circumstances, and they don't like to talk about it because how the world stigmatizes certain events or plays it out to call you crazy or delusional or put you in a loony house or have people think they gotta look out for you and things like that. It took me a while to really talk about the in-depth things that I saw during my first psychedelic experiences. Like I let a little couple things out. Like I was saying, 1+1 is not just 2, it's 3. that little, to me, that little thing will cause too much eruption. So I just was going about the days, and a lot of people are doing that today. That's why I like to say we got to start the conversation so that we can be the vocal pieces to break the stigmatism, so that people's lives can be saved. I don't know. I really want to use the word saved, but just awaken to who they really are sooner than later. Put it like that. But he kept it all to himself. And he had thoughts like, yeah, like I was saying, first, the dread of ridicule. Second, very grave doubts as to the reality of my experiences. And yeah, I know you agree with that, psychedelic ill. And then he said, I resisted this impression, for it was a feeling of the idea rather than a thought. But the vague expectation grew upon me in spite of myself until at length it became a conviction with no argument or logic, which no argument or logic could shake. So after a while of having these thoughts in his head, he just let it sink on into his control center, where now he ain't really doubted. He's like, this obviously occurred. I cannot logically dispel anything that out of my head. Like like I say that during my psychedelic experience with LSD, so I saw a lot of colors and things like that. Like I couldn't deny that I saw swirls going around somebody's head like a worm, like a visualization worm just traveling all around somebody's face. I can logically put that out of my head after a while, and seeing the skies and the just things transforming into cartoons and things like that. After a while, you're just like, that's just the way it is. Oh, and then it's talking about in chapter 2, this new idea thrust itself into the foreground, and I begin in my own mind to court another interview. This guy said, I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna come back during a certain times, and we're not gonna be. He wasn't gonna tell the story all in one big session. He was gonna spread it out over a couple weeks or months, however long it took. John didn't really know in the beginning how long this was going to take. But this ideas throughout this book keep being thrust into his head, and then it starts to work out in reality. So me just tying this Captain Naga just tying in the book. These thoughts are real forms. These thoughts are actualities and energies. And I believe I get thoughts all the time too, like that. And people put in this reality as the inner voice in the back of your head, that little tiny voice. I'm trying to make that voice. I can try to get that voice a blowhorn nowadays, so I can really hear what it's saying. But yeah, I believe thoughts come into our head to lead us on things like that. Like you said, this thought came into his head and said, interview is probably going to happen. It's probably going to come soon. And this feeling was just coming. Intuition, sixth senses. I can move past that now. So, so after a while, he, after the appointment, yeah. All right, this was the big thing. This has to go with me saying 1+1 is 3. Chapter 2, that's what this was big about. He goes to talk to his friend, Professor Chickerens. And he's this professor that's into a lot of I would say that guy you would know that's into science fiction and into aliens and things like that, but mostly like to watch movies and talk about Star Trek and things like that. He's not really experiencing it for himself, but he sees it on TV and it's real cool to him. So he goes to Professor Chickerins and like, I can tell him my story. I can tell him, he'll be able to know or just listen to what's going on, and he'll get a little vibe and things like that. And I caught myself doing that as well, thinking that I can talk to people that didn't have a psychedelic experience themselves, but I knew was into some weird things. But as you'll see in this conversation, you'll still be not probably highly surprised, but you'll be surprised how much experience is compared to actually to just reading a book and watching a movie. It really shapes you. It shapes you because he goes to this guy, tells him his whole story, and then the guy tells him a series of other stories to downplay the legitimacy of John's story. Like, like he says, man, like one of the things said, don't be too sure of that when John told him how real it was. Say, you were by your own accord in a highly nervous condition and physically tired. So that causes in people to hallucinate and have delusions of grandeur and all these other things. But and then he tries to display it away his dreams and everything. And John just keeps coming back at him like, wait, but, wait, but. Because, John not crazy either, but he's trying to, his friend is trying to play him off as crazy, just off the bat. When he's just trying to tell him something that that happened in his life, saying, this is real. The guy's continuously trying to tell him how he's just delusional, hallucinating, and all these other things. And he's like, well, John's like, do any of the subjects of our dreams or visions leave tangible evidences of their presence? Because he's like, I have a piece of hair. I have a hair. But he didn't let him talk about, psychedelic ill. He even showed them the hair. But what I was about to go into, he didn't let him talk about the hair. He didn't let him say, oh, well, I have the hair here. He kept just cutting them off. It was this attitude that Professor Chickerins had that I see bubbles up in a lot of people when you try to talk to them about psychedelic experiences and things of this matter. It's like something that's because people are people. We like to defend ourselves or defend our points of view, defend what we've been seeing. Like if you keep showing somebody a red apple and then you be like, that apple is actually magenta, or and he was like, no. They first responded, no. Like, what are you talking about? But that's why we got to be friends. Yeah, fight truth. Some people do fight the truth. The truth is relative. It's all about based off your experiences. And that's why this world, if you want Just Tai, tries to keep you in these low level experiences. So that's all you experiencing. So that's all you're going to defend. You're going to defend all you know. And it's going to take somebody like John to come to you, or me to come to you and be like, hey, this is happening. Oh, man, I'm just going to... As long as you ain't coming up like, yeah, man, I just seen it. But he was calm. He was just like, I just want to talk. And this other guy just... The Agent Smith, like in The Matrix, the Agent Smith just came out of him. Just started just like, I'm an agent now. I got something that's going to confuse you because remember, John is also a scientific guy. So Professor Chickerins is saying all of these things to like try to talk to his friend. It really is an earnest thing from Chickerins' point of view. He's like, man, this is my friend. I know how I don't want to really go real too much off the board. Like I'm going to try to remind them and try to ground them a little bit. Oh, hey, Rich. Richard said, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. It is founded on our thoughts. It is made up of our thoughts. If a man speaks or acts with pure thought, happiness follows it. Yes, that's what happens, man. And when you're not happy, like a shadow that never leaves him. Yeah, you always got this form of irritation that pops up. Like if he really was happy, he would have been like, man, well, my friend is coming at me with this information and experience. I know he's not wild. let me probably shape what I probably thought. Cause when you're happy, you adjust to the situation because you with the flow, and when the flow is change. So if you ain't changing, you ain't with the flow. You just in the box. You're just in the box, and most people get mad when you in a box, man. It's wild. Filter got cut off. And that's why sometimes I see that sometimes psychedelic experiences or sometimes it just has to come out of nowhere. Like not really planned, like I'm gonna do this and do that. Like most of the time it works out like that. But in the reality that I've seen in my life and with myself, like I ain't playing out to do psychedelics like, all right, next week I'm gonna do this. It was just like I have this thought, man, and then I asked a friend, oh yeah, I was thinking about LSD. It's like, oh, I can get it, and then we just did it, and then it was like poof, just pushed into the reality instead of still having your thoughts that will be trying to fight it. Try to fight it because you can be fighting all your life. Fighting all your life. Because I know as many people that say, oh, I had the chance to do DMT back like 30, 20 years ago. I wish I would have took it back then knowing what I'm going through now with these psychedelics. So it really is how happy you are. Thanks, Richard. Um, yeah, first Professor Chickerins was playing it off as forms of illusions and wasn't really answering all his questions and things like that. And he was mentioning poets. And he even went in the end as far as to say, like once he kept, John kept giving him back. Yeah, like Professor said, your stories are very interesting, I said, but I failed to perceive any analogy in their conditions or incidents to my experience. This is what John was saying. He's like, you're telling me all these stories, but they ain't really connecting with all the pieces I was telling you. Like, some parts is there, but it ain't the whole thing. Like, I'm saying this, you just giving me this, and you trying to just fill in those other gaps, but other gaps and whatnot. And in the end, he wound up saying, giving them a story of how he gave a real interesting story though, about how it was a guy that went to war and his friend didn't go to war, but they promised, because one was sick, but they promised that if one of them died first, that they will come back to visit the other one through the other realm, through whatever means necessary. And this will actually happen. One war, they died, the other one stayed home. So then when a couple weeks later, or a week later or something, or that day, I don't really know, the guy visited him, an apparition of the guy that passed away, or rise in peace, came and visited him. And he was like, oh, well, this is a story. Yes, Father.
Can you get my shoes?
Mommy gonna get them. But,
No, the other shoes.
Mommy get them. But he was doing this, and, let me just see. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, the guy visited him, but then the professor still plays this off as saying, well, his mind was preparing this illusion, so that's what happened. Like the professor really played himself in the end by saying a real story, but then connecting it in to his rational mind. He was so left brain. He was so left brain that even when he was reading the stories of actual happenings, he still translated it through his experiences. And I was just tying on Men in Black. How Men in Black, when Will Smith was first getting indoctrinated into the Men in Black system, and Agent K, I'm gonna get it right. Agent K was showing them the ropes and things like that. And he went to the tabloids. And he was like, that's where I get all my best information from, the tabloids. You read that junk? And he's like, yeah, that's why we put it here, so that everybody won't read it. And then it was truth in there, and they did a whole mission based off of what they found in that tabloid. But if somebody else read it, they be like, man, this guy was probably doing this, or he probably wasn't eating right, or he just one of those hick country folk or something like that. It's something going on with his brain chemistry. And then he just told him, And then when he told him about the hair, in the end, he told him about the hair. The guy, professor, just choked it off as, and no, the guy chucked it off saying, I think you just need to get some exercise. I think overall, if you get some exercise, it's gonna make all these weird thoughts go away. And this was after he showed him the hair, the physical evidence that should have shook his world, rocked his world, broke his world, tumbled his world apart. I'm thinking of the Tower card on the Tarot, the Major Arcana. The Tower card just being struck by lightning so that it can be rebuilt in a new way. That should have just happened, but the mind is strong.
See the people right here.
Oh, you'll be okay. You'll be all right.
Wait, I'm gonna put your hat on it because I'm leaving.
All right. Have fun.
Bye.
Love you.
Take care of Rudy too.
All right. I got Rudy. Live shows are the best, right, guys? Get to see the raw. but yeah, I got it out about how he told him to exercise. Like he literally ended after all of that. I think you had better commence your exercise at once. We had chapter 3, guys. 40 minutes, chapter 3. Titled A Second Interview with the Mysterious Visitor. And man, just the title of my life. I did a lot of things too, trying to translate it, but be in a kind way to people that I thought will understand. Like I even went back to, I wasn't going to church around this time yet. Well, not yet, but I stopped going to church around this time. But still, my family was still in the church, and they would like mention to me still, "Oh, you want to try to talk to the pastor?" Because I was real tight. I was real close to the pastor of the church. Like I was kind of like his son. I looked at him as a dad. Like we'd go out to eat sometimes and things like that. I wasn't just me sitting in church and looking at him. We had a one-on-one relationship because I didn't have a father and stuff for me to do the certain things. So I looked up to this guy. So I was like, all right, I have these psychedelic experiences going on, these visions, these ideas about God and things like that. Let's talk, let's have a conversation. Like just me trying to say that the concept of God cannot be put into words and that the concept of God that we focus on is not it. And he was like, well, you got to have a concept or else it's going to be made up for you or something that he would say. No, I didn't mention psychedelics. I told, I just talked about my thoughts. I talked about, because I had all these thoughts while I was in the church before. So I was like, I didn't feel no fear of talking about the mind that I was into now. Like, I didn't think, I got to put things in terms of the Bible to talk. I'm just going to talk. I just want to talk. I don't think he's going to really tell me nothing new, which is what everybody else thought. They thought he was going to like, all right, pastor going to talk to him. He's going to help him out and stuff, going to be back on track. I was like, I'm on the track. I just want to talk and see how this experience is going to turn out. And it mostly turned out with him just saying I needed to find what I mean when I say the all, and in terms of God and things like that. And he tried to steal what Professor Chicken would say, try to mold things in terms of Christianity. And you say, well, and I would say, well, it's not a lot of Christians. I told him it's not a lot of Christians I can talk to about the ideas that are in my head because of how they view the world. I remember saying that. You say, well, it's different, many types of Christians and things out here, and you be able to talk. And in my mind, I'm like, no, I really know that if I was to say these certain things to them, it would just like turn the whole conversation around them thinking that they gotta get the demon out of me or something. But he was real sincere, and he was just like Chickerins, but I was like, I just want to talk. But in the end, it just came to, you're going to find, I got the feeling of, you're still finding your way. You're still finding your way to what I'm trying to tell you now. And that's what made me not talk about it to a lot of other people. Then I moved to California and started Just Tai. But all right, let's stick to this book review. But that's just how it correlates to my life. Like I said, this book is built with a whole lot of synchronicities. A whole lot of synchronicities. But yes, back to the second interview. And it starts off with saying, "And it's not pleasant to have one's mental responsibility brought into question. And the result of my interview with Professor Chickerins was, to put it mildly, unsatisfactory." But as I said that. Cool. Phone crash. I had to make sure this was on the charger too. But I did tell a lot of people. I remember telling my grandma that I did LSD, and I was talking to her about how it made me feel. But I still, no, I don't think the way that the church that I grew up in grew these look at these substances is that is mostly witchcraft and things like that. Like my grandmom is a teacher at this same church, and I brought it up to her, and I remember her bringing it up, saying, "Yeah, I remember trying that stuff back in the day, and I remember hearing people saying they run around in the woods. I didn't like it. I just had to go home." And then she like never talked about it again. So and the way that I really don't understand. But the thing, yes, I do. The thing about a lot of people and pastors and elders in the church is that around the time, and this is why I talk about the stigmatism. Crack cocaine was huge in the 80s and the 70s when this was coming out. But it's hard to be a pastor know about psychedelics, I would think. I don't know, because rabbis in the Jewish faith, they know about magic mushrooms. They know about magic mushrooms and cannabis. Them rabbis be smoking. Rabbis be popping them caps. But when it comes to Christianity and things like that, a lot of crack cocaine and all these other drugs, they seen a lot. They seen a lot and they done a lot. Even cocaine. They was partiers and they had a lot of stuff. So they see it as the Bible got them away from all of that. And it is all just pursed into this one thing. And they see that, I remember it used to be testimonies of people talking about overdosing on crack cocaine and leaving their body and things like that. And seeing all these disastrous things and not knowing how to deal with it, but they saw a light, but they associate that light with Christianity because that's what they grew up in. So that light that's calling that energy that's already created, just dragging them, just pulling them towards that. So I believe with psychedelics, unless you really go far and stuff like that, I don't know, because then there's other stories of people saying that they went back to God and Jesus and things like that while doing psychedelics. It's many different configurations of humans, as I always say. It's all these possibilities. All these possibilities. That's why I just like to talk and see who out there. But I got my own mind formed, but I'm always open to new ones. I just had to get my foundation straight. What y'all guys gotta do too. And you don't let nobody just come in and tell you some willy nilly. It's not really willy nilly to them, but it seemed willy nilly to me now. All right, let's get to this third chapter. All right, all right. And he's going and saying, yeah, sure, it was crazy, but I know what he's talking to something about. I know what I was saying was right. He was happy that the professor was actually patient with them. His own reflections had been sober and delivering and had led me to seek rational explanations of an unusual phenomena. All right. There's real convincing witness. The weeks pass, months, winters. I'm just trying to keep everything. Yeah, when months, winter, I'm trying to keep everything all in chronological order. Because I haven't had any marijuana this morning, so my mind is quite linear right now. In fact, I only anticipate. Yeah, and then it started melding into his mind more, where now the thought of the second visit started being more into the forefront of his mind. It started coming more in this third chapter, where now he not only anticipated a visit, but he courted it. He's like, all right, this is going to happen. This God say he was going to come back. I truly believe everything's going to happen. He's coming back. I'm prepared. And then the old and the Never Less Alone Than When Alone has started poof, 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 started coming to his head. That's why I say when you listen to music and stuff like that, that's your spirit telling you something. That's just when you hear that song just keep going through your head. It's either, even if it's a cool, you're probably feeling cool. Like play it out. Oh, I'm feeling good. If it's a bad song, it's making you feel something about a relationship or about life. Really dive deep into that. Don't just let the song keep playing for 10 days. I find myself doing that. And no, 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 no. Deal with it. All right, talking about time passing. And it's December now. But when I started this, it took place in November. So this is when this book takes place in November. And the third, fourth, the number, yeah, they don't talk about it, but they said the numbers kept coming to him, and the number 7 kept coming to him. Now, the 7th November came at last, and he was real nervous today because he knew it was the anniversary. That's what the anniversary of when the guy was going to come back. It was like, oh, I found out this was November 7th last year, so it must be a whole year before he said come back, and his thoughts coming. So he panicking. He like, all right, this is second psychedelic. I'm looking at the second psychedelic trip. He like, all right, the second psychedelic trip about to come, but I know I'm planning for this, but I'm panicking. I want to do something else now. Like I noticed the day is here, so he literally makes plans to go see a movie. He like, I'm gonna go. Well, it wasn't movies back then. To see a play called Aladdin, The Wonderful Lamp, does with genies and wishes and stuff. They don't really talk about it, but that's me thinking about it. So he's like, I'm gonna entertain myself, I'm gonna distract myself from this day so that it can just go by. And I see this as a psychedelic trip when you don't want to go too deep into the trip and you try to distract yourself with TV or or some music. And I don't want to think this thought. Let's change this song. Let's go do this. I had this with my own shroom experience where I was like, all right, I got to talk to TV. All right, I don't want to talk to TV. I'm going to put on some animals. I'm just going to put some animals. I like animals. I can watch that. But it's like, no, you got to deal with this going right now. So I just cut off all the lights eventually. But we're going to see where he at now because he's still in his running stage. Because then he made another ploy to get out of it when he started seeing the Toms. And he said he made an appointment to see his friend. He's like, all right, I'm gonna hang with this friend at this time for the second part of the day because then the thoughts was bothering him so much while he was at the play that he had to leave. He just couldn't. He's like, I can't take none of this no more. I gotta go. And the play was probably reminding him all this other magical things that was going on. So he's like, oh man, I set myself up. So then he tried to get back out of it again, called his friend, say, yeah, I'm going to be here at this particular time. Hold me accountable so that at this time, I'm supposed to be where you are. So, but if not, he put loopholes so just in case as well. So he did that. And the time starts passing. And he gets his coats and everything on. Yeah, he gets his coats and he ready to leave, go to his friends. He's like, yeah, I'm out here. I'm controlling this trip right now. It's not taking me on no ride. And then, lo and behold, the door silently closes, and no wind is anywhere. So just, boop, and he silently hears a voice. Man, permit me to, yeah, I like that quote. I said, this is going to be a classic. We're going to make this a classic line. This reminds me of Gandalf and stuff. Permit me to wish you good evening. I am profoundly glad to meet you again. And why I call this a classic, because John is going to do all this turmoil, all this trying to dip and dodge and not deal with the situation. And he just comes all pleasantly with a smile. Hey, nice to meet you. Good to see you. Good to be here again. And John's face is probably like, who is this guy? Like, what is going on? And then he's like, the guy just said, hey, didn't I say I'll be back? And you had some thoughts come into your mind for some time that I was going to appear around this time. Like your thoughts was letting you know you was telling yourself. And you was only trying to play yourself by going against those thoughts. So, man, please don't be so don't be so hype. Don't be so hype, man. I'm here. You knew it. And then John still tried to get out of it. He was like, man, I know, but I gotta go do something. I called somebody. I told them that I was gonna be there at their house. So if we can postpone this, I'll be on my way now. I'll be on my way. And the guy was like, not so fast, if you please. And he pulled out his knife again. And he did this thing. He's about to pull a bell too. John was getting freaking out. He's about to pull a bell to ring some kind of, I guess it was an alarm. And the guy was like, but it happened so fast. He cut the tether, the cord to the bell, so he couldn't ring it. And it happened so fast he didn't see his hand move. So then John's like, oh wow, all right, what the hell's going on? Then he also did some more cool things with the knife. I'm trying to see what he did. Where he was moving so fast, he left a mark on the doors. Wait, I'm skipping ahead. That's when he left. That's when he left. He left the mark on the door. But he started approaching him with the knife, like, you really trying to get out of this? I'm not playing. Like, I'm gonna take your soul, boy. Take your soul, boy. Now, oh, I'm gonna read. La, la, da, 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 da. Yeah, in the Adobe version on my tablet, I have highlights and stuff, but I downloaded to the computer, so I don't really have my notes. And all right, no complaining, man. I agree that, yeah, he's about to leave. He left a marking on the door. He put a sharp marking in the door. The old man did. Why? I do not know. But I guess he was leaving his mark and intimidating him. He was intimidating him. Just trying to like get past all this conscious wall, these walls that John had built up to block out these experiences from coming into his experience. He's like, I don't want to experience this. I want to stay little old John Uri. I don't want to see the expansiveness of the universe. Is what I'm seeing. I don't want to see all of this. I want to just take a benzo. I want to take a Xanax and knock this trip out of my head. So then he's like, all right, after all of this, he's like, all right, I give in. But what should I call you? What should I call you, man? What should I call you? He said, I am the man who did it. At first, he's like, I don't have a name. What are you trying to get a name out of me for? But then he said, just call me, I am the man who did it. And they have a dash go between each word. So each solid, that's each solid thought. Each one is a solid thought. Solid thought. All right, and we're going to see some more about that. The old man whom I had promised I would fulfill the task, observing my discomforts, relieve me of the charge. Yeah. Would you want to, Psychedelic L said, would you want to see if you were in John's shoes? Yes. Me, I actually would want to see. I remember a lot of thoughts when I was going to psychedelic experience. I was like, man, I really did kind of want this. I remember when I was younger and I used to watch a lot of ghost shows. I grew up watching a lot of those shows that come on 1 a.m. when you got regular TV growing up, and they talk about aliens and ghost stories. I used to try to see ghosts in the dark when I was in my room, and I don't know. I used to try to see ghosts. So all this weird stuff, I'm like, hey man. I'm just but I was so hype about that thought right now. I was like, why I was so hype about that? It's because it was one night I was in a room and I thought I saw like this black orb or something. And I was like, oh wow, I finally seen something. I was like 9th grade or something like that. Now I was at my uncle's house, 10th. All right, we in the 10th. The chapter ends. Yeah, the chapter ends with them actually, the old man handing John the manuscript that he wants them to read of this journey that we're going to see what's going on. But the script is he can't read it. The overall, just know he couldn't read it. It was in English, but the handwriting was garbage, so to speak. But knowing he still tried to read it and divining his thoughts. Like it seemed as though this man is able to pick up on his thoughts. He doesn't have to really rely on what John is saying for him to react. He's like, he sees it and he knows what John is saying. All right, let me just do this. Let me read this for you. And this happened plenty of times in the first chapter. I kind of skimmed over that. Why would you want to see psychedelic ill say? As for me, now it's a whole nother thing. For me, it's just like if I know that I'm cut off and that it's something there, it's just like I want to see. I want to see what's always. I don't know. I just want to see what's. I want to be able to interact with more of reality. It's like if I'm doing it and somebody cut me off or somebody put some programs in me, I want to press that. I want to be able to. I want to be able to be the Apple computer and not the Windows. I want to be a MacBook Pro. I don't want to be like letting things wash me or have a lot of wishy-washy stories of, well, this happens because of this. I'm like, no, I understand that this happens because of like this, and or because it just happens like this with no metaphors. I don't want no metaphors to be in the way of me in life. That's a just Tai thought. I don't want no metaphors in my way. I want to see what it is. But you know you're not cut off. You know there is something there. Yeah, I don't mean to use the word cut off, but it's something there. It's something there, and I just want to be a part. I am a part of it. It's just all the program. I just want to get all that shit out. I want to clear it out, and just see how we really are. Like I like watching a lot of animes. And I'm thinking of Yokai Watch now, where like Whisper is his little spirit friend, and is just there talking to him like a friend. And instead of being a crazy guy, seeming like a crazy guy, saying I'm just talking to myself, like yeah, I just like talking to myself. But I'm like, no, I'm talking to the guy right there. He is letting me know this, or I am letting myself know this. Whatever form it plays out in, I don't know. Like the devil and the angel on the shoulder. I'm thinking Disney. Disney does that, likes to expose that a lot. Alright, so they get in, start off this third chapter of Etidorpha. Oh wait, no, I'm going way the wrong way. They actually get into the manuscript and actually start reading and seeing what is actually going on. And we start to see how it's a story of the man who did its life. Ooh, I need a MacBook Pro right now. It's Windows. Not scrolling down very smoothly. Wait, I read something. It went way too fast. Psychedelic Ill said, I'm here, Richard's here, you are a part of it. Man, you probably dropping something on me that I'm supposed to be. Yeah, bro. Thanks. It's just something in me, bro. That be beating myself up too much. Like I understand totally what you're saying. This is it. This is it. Ah. Sorry, I got a little lost in the head. Now we spend our whole life, I don't know, spend a lot trying to look for things outside. Psychedelic said, remember you told me life is magic. You can't escape the magic. And to think that you cut off is the trick in the first place, right? Oh. Yeah, man, you're right. Because it's more about realization than discovering. I don't know. When I talk, I look at your comments as if you're the You're the comment. That's why you see me like when I talk, I'm looking at the comment, and I can just look at the camera. But I have searched the psychedelic worlds. It shows me over and over everything is one. That this is it. And Mike Jack said, "This is it." And the more I base myself in this reality, the more I'll be able to. The more I'll already be seeing. Psychedelic ill coming with the whoo. Coming with the whoo. That's what the conversation is all about. All right. All right, so let's get into this fourth chapter. Let's get into this fourth chapter. I don't know. I'm trying to see if I'm gonna break this up and do the other three chapters later, but nah, forget that. This can be as long as it needs to be. Um, a search for It's titled "A Search for Knowledge and the Alchemic Letter." Let me make sure. Yeah, I did read. I read chapter 3. And all right, I'm just zooming through that. Stay in the zone stuff. All right, it says, I'm the man, it starts to say, I'm the man who, unfortunately for my future happiness, was dissatisfied with knowledge as could be derived from ordinary books concerning semi-scientific subjects in which I have been long absorbed. So this guy, the man who did it, he started off like how I started off, how we all started off, going real deep into the sciences. I wanted to be a theoretical physicist, not really a experimental physicist dealing with physical things, but I want to be a theoretical physicist dealing with the mind, dealing with the math, and dealing with chemistry and things like that, and seeing what chemistry and all this can bring out, what it can bring out, the mysteries, what mysteries is diving so deep into this going to reveal. And chemistry and science, they try to act like they have all the answers when you're in school, when you're in the surface, when you're reading the books. It's really just tying in my own world, keeping it realistic until you get to the real deep worlds like what quantum mechanics, and talk to the quantum physicists, not just presenters of the quantum world and stuff. You'll really see that their ideas are latched on to a lot of DMT-ish type things. But overall, a lot of the books that you read don't push your mind, to really connect all the dots as they should. They give you hints and things like, they give you little seeds and things like that. Sometimes they give you a little clone if you into plants and stuff like that. Like you can cut a leaf off and clone it and grow it out and stuff. Like they give you a clone, they give you a little leaf that you can then put in dirt and clone yourself and grow your own tree. But it's all relative. It's all relative to how much you already on board. And when it comes to Christianity and stuff, you're not going to really connect a lot of wild ideas to science and math and logic and things. You're like, all right, this is logic. This is what it is. This is this. But when you start coming across alchemical lore and esoteric text, it just connects to everything, connects the mind and spirit, and it erupts interest in those that are truly seeking truth from the heart. And in my own experience, this happened because I was trying to practice card magic. I was trying to do magician stuff. I was real into David Blaine and all that cool things. And then I was looking up old books, and then I was getting deeper into the history of magic, and then brought me to the magic with a K, into the alchemical lore. I was like, wow, the consciousness of the atom. What? What? This is the missing puzzle. All of these things y'all talking about. So this is what he was going through. This is what the man who did it was going through. Appealed to, but likewise failed. These studies were pursued in secret, and he did all of this in secret. And the thing about it, yeah, he was going and they actually named some specific books in there that I want to look up, like the chemical improvers of natural philosophy. Hold on. Let me get the book that I really had in my mind. I'll get to that. I guess it comes up a little later. But he was doing all of this in secret. He was just looking up all these things by himself. And then he saw that it was a lot of people that were interested in alchemical lore, but you don't really recognize it until you get that in-depth information from reading these books, those in-depth experiences from spending hours upon hours connecting dots and different symbols and things. Like you look up and say, wow, that person was saying this whole time, or because of what this person is doing, I know that they're thinking like this. And and he said, in the book is quoted, I discovered that many talented men are still firm believers in the lost art of alchemy, and that among the followers of the thrice famed Hermes Trismegistus, are to be found statesmen, clergymen, lawyers, and scientific men who, for various reasons, invariably conceal with great tact their connection with the fraternity of adepts. And I find this in the alchemical world. When I was reading the books where they would say, don't talk about this kind of stuff to the swine or the I don't know. It was a lot of stuff in those books that would really, when you read it, they would literally be saying, don't talk about this stuff. And me, at first I was like, all right, now I understand why I don't talk about it. All right. And this is before my psychedelic experience and stuff. But then I was like, wait a second, this stuff is supposed to be talked about. Like, I guess that's what the 2000 age millennium brought about, like that spirit of concealment and being ridiculed. Because back then you could have been killed. You could have been killed, excommunicated by the Catholic Church, which was in communication with the state. So that was your whole livelihood. Even if you wasn't in the church, everything was being ran by the church. So if you want to get to church, your ass would get out of there. So I understand that. But it's 2000, so in the new millennium, it was time to talk. It's time to talk. And also with the psychedelic experience, that's why I got the podcast, Sci-Top Podcast, to break the stigmatism, because a lot of people out here that's in CEOs of huge tech companies, of fashion companies, museum directors, I know that they have dwelled in psychedelic experiences, and that's why the company and different things are able to move in ways that they're able to move. And even if it's in bad ways and ways that they know can attract people to their company because they know how the mind works and things like that. So it's really people all out here in all fields, even in 2018, that are just not going to tell you that they're doing psychedelics. And when they do, to the New York Times reporters and things like that, they change their name up. Even still, they change their name up so that you're not able to trace back for whatever reason. And I think that deals with family life and being ridiculed, or just saying they crazy. They are nobody know, just a lot of people not prepared for that. That's just how it is. All right. All right, so we get past the and then one day he got a strange package that was delivered to his door that gave him a mission. It was wait, this part wasn't in the version I had. I'm sorry, it's a whole nother thing. But I found the letter to be, yeah, he found the letter, and it was like giving him something that he was supposed to do. It was an ambiguous alchemist style. It was evident that the author was well versed in alchemy, and in order that my position may be clearly understood at this turning point in life was remarkable adventure. Like now he's telling the story, like, all right, this sent me on my adventure once I got this package. All right, then they talk about the Hermes Trismegistus, and about how Hermes Trismegistus didn't actually create the philosophy, the Hermetic philosophy. He just gave it a name. He put like, all right, this is the Hermetic arts. He put it all together. He like put a lot of stuff together into a science. Like a lot of forces out here, but the science just has to be there. Past this part. One second, guys. The 100.
Yeah. That's for the door.
Yeah, it's all in the wallet, in the room, in the bag. But yeah, and the stop saying I was scrolling past the huge letter that's talking about what the history of alchemy and things like that, which was not in the version that I had. So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna have to read that. Yeah, that's wild. All right. So I guess I'm gonna go to the 6th chapter where he actually finally. Wow, that's wild. I didn't see any of that. About his confession, about how. Yeah, I'm gonna just come back and talk about that part in another time. But he comes back in the 6th chapter. Once I get there again, he is talking about his confession. It's talking the man who did it. He did something wild, but he's following the instructions of this letter to a T. And what it was telling him was to go into this, learn all of these things, go in and get I was about to say abducted, get into the secret society that was on the paper and things, and then you have to go and expose it. You have to betray your brothers, betray your oath, betray everything that you've just been building yourself up to this point, and now you have to expose it. You got to tell the world. You got to tell the world what's going on in this society. And once I get back down there, I can get back to where we was at. Yep. All right, my confession. And he titled it My Confession. And he really said I'm exposing, blah, blah. He's just like, all right, this is what I'm confessing about the things that I did and the things that I experienced and yada, yada. And the story of my crime, only God knows. Only God knows. And I think I'm just trying to see if it was one cool thing. Yeah, saying how he was just crossing creeks, went to village. Yeah, that's basically how it is. That's how it is. He was started writing his confession, and he was like, he got to portray everything he just did if he want to get the truth that this letter is trying to give to him. 'Cause remember, he started out. He started out trying to seek truth, or not trying, doing the will of truth, no matter what alligator swamp it was going to bring him down, he was going to do it. And now the next turn in events is now in order to further go down the rabbit hole to this truth, he now has to betray the ones that was helping him get this information in the first place. Well, not in the first place, in like the 5th or 4th place. So I'm seeing this now as, man, you can't keep things separate, like I was saying, separated from people. You gotta work together. You can't just have these secret societies going on when there are people dying and people that are not able to manifest their will in this reality because of programs that's making them think that they're not it. And that's the huge thing of the Hermetic philosophy, that you're it. Like Psychedelic Ill was saying, we're it. This is it. It's all held in the mind of the all. Like, you don't go anywhere, you go here. You go here, bros. You go here, Tai'ers. And that's very fascinating. Very fascinating. But that's what it is. Sorry, whenever I get epiphanies like that, it throws me off of what I was just talking about. But yeah, this is the next step in his truth, that now he has to talk about it. And it's occulted. It's occulted, and occulted just means that which is hidden. That's a lot of people occult information is another, I don't know, an energy that surrounds it, that people have put on it so that people don't try to go near it, is that they think a cult just means Satan worship or something that's evil or something that needs to be put away. Hermetically sealed. It's hermetically sealed. It's sealed away. It's just something that you got to uncover. I'm just telling you, I remember always asking for a teacher. I'm like, I want a teacher. I want a physical teacher. And that was getting me caught up. Because I was like, oh, I started looking into Freemasons and things like that. Cause I was like, I want a physical person to teach me these things. Let alone I was creating that teacher through energy, and it was just showing. Blah, 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 blah. But I'm going to stick to the book. I'm going to stick to the book right now. But yeah, the information is just getting out there. The information is out there now, and that's his next step. And that's just how it is. I believe once you get the information, you gotta talk. You gotta talk or create art piece. Y'all see a lot of people, these animators. I see how they do movies and things like that, and people are like, yo, the truth is right there in the movie. But yet still, people say, oh, that's just a movie. And but that seed was planted because that psychedelic god was one of the art directors or something like that, planting them seeds. But yeah, that's what we got, man. That's the first 6 chapters of Etidorpha. What went on? This is part of the journey, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen next. What's part of this journey and what's going to happen. Psychedelic Ill said it's similar when you take DMT, and there's no words to explain it because it's so beyond it, beyond words. Yeah, beyond the formation of language. Man. It seems no one knows. I don't even know everything. I just say, yeah, that's what I say. But I'm so thankful for these videos, so now I'm able to keep track of things I'll be saying and build up. Cause for a while I was saying a lot of things, but I was saying them, and I would still be listening to a lot of people that wasn't up and on to things in the psychedelic realm, because I was the only one. So I would just say whatever comes. Wait, I'm losing track of what I was saying. Yeah, I would just say whatever comes up. But then sometimes, because of marijuana and cannabis stuff, or just my own focus, I wouldn't remember what I said. I'm like, oh wait, that is how it works. And then I have an experience. I'm like, wait, no, get thrown back. No, this is how it is. Oh yeah, I did think like that. Now I can build it up, and now it's really kind of more like this. It's all layers. It's levels. It's all truth, but it's just all gonna be peeling back and just be more truth. That's how I just keep myself calm. It's truth, but later along in life we're just gonna get more true. And as long as you stay in true, that's all good to me. It's all good to me. But yeah, that's what I wanted to get into. It is things out here like it's just saying dark occultists sound funny to me, but it is people that know occult secrets and occult knowledge and natural law, how things work in this reality, and they don't want other people to know so that they can be the ones that's so-called controlling the other person, or I'll say highly influencing the other person, so that the other person is a order follower, just becomes a order follower. And that comes in many shapes and forms, the way we dress, and a lot. I'm trying to keep it together right now. But yeah, it's a real thing because when you don't know that you're it, and somebody else's know that you're it, but that you're all it, you go around looking, you go around searching for answers. Why am I here? Why is this? And when this person has a lot of this truth, but twisting it up and just giving you a little bit, but then giving you a little anger too, like the dark occultist that's not running this world, because they don't run me, but that's prominent in this world. They'll give you truth, but then they'll say, yeah, and you know that person is going to look at you like you crazy, right though? Or this is true. You are it, but know that the whole world is trying to kill you, and at any moment somebody's trying to stab you in the back. So you gotta power yourself up to always be on the lookout. So then you get in the truth, but then it's mixed up with anxiety and worries and angers and traumas. And as I always say, you just start becoming a Sith. And that's when then if there's a whole bunch of people running around with similar mindsets, you ain't even gonna see it as so swiftly. I'm not gonna say good or bad, but as so swiftly. And looking out for yourself, self-preservation and things, instead of knowing that we already got everything we need. I don't think this is the same case because it has control. No one individual. Go ahead. Wait, I don't think. Wait, hold on. I don't think psychedelic illness. I don't think this is the case because it has control. No one individual. Oh, individually does. This individual word was throwing me off. The yeah, I think I be trying to think like that, but then when I just look around, I don't know. It's like forces is playing out just because it just has to happen like that. Like some people just going to seem as though they're playing this role of controlling people, but they're not really controlling people. They think they controlling people, but then I begin confused on the actions. Like, what is the action really meaning? Is it really taking this much to wake people up, to wake humanity up? Like, we really have to see this much to know that we need to not do this as a species anymore. Like, people, we have to see ourselves, our reflections, the it or whatever. You can go out, Rudy. We have to see ourselves as so messed up that then we'd be able to say, all right. Let's not do this. Let's not be aware. Well, not be aware because the universe likes to be aware of every part of itself, but it's a lot of questions. I'm not going to give a definitive answer right now. I'm just going to just tie. I'm just thinking. But yeah, man, that control thing. But I do like to talk about it because I found myself being drawn to that in my early days when I was searching for truth, searching for knowledge, and looking up things about Lucifer and being a light bearer, and how it got confused because I was I looked into Eliphas Levi and things like that, and I was like, this guy's got a lot of truth. Like, if we are just, we are magical beings and things like that, and our Lucifer say Christianity got it all twisted up, and it's really like this, and Lucifer is not really even a demonic term or stuff. They just got it all messed up and twisted. And I was reading the book of Satan. I read it front to cover back, and I just wanted to know, and I was interested. No, I don't think the individual does not possess the whole picture. No, I don't think it's the whole picture, but just certain things that we be doing, just it has some kind of it's just plain. Or what we doing here is showing us what's going on in the other realm. Cause I don't believe you can't change nothing here. This is just the plane of effects. The plane of causality is somewhere else. I will take everything as just a piece of the whole. It is, yep, a piece of the whole in fractals. It's cool. I'm getting a little hungry too. But that's what it is. That's what it is, guys. I think I'm gonna cut it off here. It's been a while, and I gotta get ready. I'm going to Philadelphia soon. Well, leave for Philadelphia tomorrow. That's where my hometown is. I haven't been there in 2 years, so it's going to be something. Oh, typos. It's all good. Typos natural to me. I'm always typing some kind of typo. But yeah, I'm gonna do some videos while I'm over there, so y'all get to see the big tall skyscrapers and the hood where I grew up in. I'm gonna do some Just Tai thoughts there. But this is the book club, so I'm gonna keep that little separate announcement from right now. But I'm gonna get going. I'm gonna get going right now. Thanks for tuning in, Richard and Psychedelic Ill. This has been awesome, or it still is awesome, even up until the next time. Carry this energy. I was a little nervous getting on this plane and stuff, but it's all right. But much love, Rich. And yeah, I'm gonna start reading the next chapters. Probably the next six, probably the next 4 to 6 chapters. I'm making an announcement for that. And I made a Discord. I'll put the link in this description so that whenever anybody wants to talk, we can just go in the Discord and chat it up. We can talk vocally, or we can just chat it up in different chat rooms. Y'all see how it's going to be. But until next time, guys, we all tie. But do we really tie? Sometimes. I don't know, dude. Sometimes I really don't know. Till next time, it's Captain Naga saying keep on reading, keep on experiencing life, and know that you're it. We're all it. We are the X-Men.